you from, sir?
From New York City, originally from Queens. Now I'm in Harlem.
What part of Queens?
Oh man, I'm originally Jamaica, Queens, but I lived all over Queens, Regal Park, Astoria, everywhere. Yeah.
So, for the people who've never been to the great borough of Queens, as Eddie Murphy said in Coming to America, what are some of the things you were seeing there as a kid?
Um, I mean, depends where you're at in Queens. Queens has a lot of different parts, but different areas that have different cultures. So Astoria is really known for like their food. Um, Yeah, I mean, for the city, you'll see a lot of trees for sure in Queens.
Yeah, compared to the other five boroughs, you definitely see a lot more vegetation. I have an aunt that lived in Astoria for the longest time, and visiting her was always fun. You know what I'm saying? Because, like you said, the food. Had family in Jamaica too. It's a little more, I guess you could say, hectic over there. Um, but yeah, sure. So, um, what was the first time you saw somebody breakdancing? Like, what was the first time you kind of looked at that and were like, "What's that?"
Um, well, I learned from my father, so at a very young age, I would see him do it, and I would try to imitate him, but I wasn't breaking. I was more just rolling around the floor, cleaning the floor. But yeah, I mean, I would see it all around a lot, because it was in my life, but I didn't really take it serious until I was like 12, 13 years old.
And where's dad from?
Where's my pops from?
Yeah.
He's from Manhattan. His name is Glyde. Well, his name is Victor. He's the second. I'm the third, and he's from uh yeah, he was born in Manhattan, and but he's from Puerto Rico.
Nice, nice. So, I mean, him what roles did he kind of play in the culture? What was his kind of, vibe within it? Cuz I know he's there's a film and things that have been made, and I know he was featured in it. If you want to kind of touch on breaking, I believe, on the one, and what the whole basis behind all that was, cuz it was a pretty big accomplishment for the culture.
So yeah, my pops he didn't start the crew, but he became part of a crew called Dynamic Rockers, and that's the crew I represent now. But his leader was this guy named Eddie Ed, and basically it was one of the three crews that helped to break. I mean, to help Breakin travel around the world. It was Rocksteady, New York City Breakers, and Dynamic Rockers. At a young age, they were like 13, 14, 15. I think my dad was like 15. He was the leader of the crew, so he was like the manager. But he wrote to a show called That's Incredible, and he was basically writing a letter and say, "Hey, we spin on our hands, our neck, our back, all kinds of stuff." And they were like, "What?" Because they never saw it before. So they came to his house where he lived in Riverside Drive, and they came to his house, they saw it, and then they just put him on the show. He was on the show at least twice. The first time they performed, the second time they battled New York City Breakers, but before they were New York City Breakers, they were called Floor Masters. So at a young age, he was traveling around the world, and they helped to plant the seeds of breaking, and now it's a world phenomenon.
So basically, dad is one of the pioneers of the craft. Basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, his name is Glide because he was the first one to do the hand glide. As a spin that you do on your hand. Um, he helped create. I mean, at that age, they were creating a lot of moves or introducing moves to the dance. So yeah, he at the windmill, he was known for the windmill. There's a debate on that, but I gotta back up my pops.
Word, word. You gotta stay loyal. But when we talk about break dancing, I mean, what light can you shed on the history of it? Maybe all the way back to Africa or in the beginnings of what was New York. Where does this all come from?
Well, I mean, originally it's the first dance of hip hop, and the thing with hip hop is about like is known for sampling, reinventing things. So a lot of things in hip hop, especially breaking, they're like it's not new. It's just things, right? It's a hip hop's a culture that I say is a universal culture that continues to evolve to this day because people just keep adding to it as it travels around the world. You get to add your culture into it and like speak the language of hip hop through like who you are, and that's why I love it, and that's why I'm able to share it with my students and all that. So I think That's where the roots are, from African Americans started it. So the roots were, you know, from Africa, wherever, I mean, and Latinos as well. So we added the little, salsa merengue, the turns, the spins, right? It was different. More people that got into it, the more it changed, and evolved.
Has your father ever talked to you about the process of him being a young Puerto Rican boy coming to the city and what that was like for him? Just basically going from two completely different cultures. What was it like for him in the beginning? Coming over.
Um, he was back and forth a lot, but there was definitely difference. He he would tell me about, like, different culture, and running into racism here and there. I would hear more from my grandfather. He like he this guy's an amazing man. He's actually the founder of Boricua College. Um, and yeah, he would tell me more about, like, racism, and how, like, he had to find his way through that and work around that.
And what is Boricua College for people that aren't aware?
Boricua College is it's a university. It started in it's like the borderline of Harlem and Washington Heights, and he has campuses in the Bronx, Brooklyn. But it's just a college to help. I mean, everybody's allowed to go. You don't have to be Boricua, Puerto Rican to go. But it's just something for our country to be prideful about. So that we have something that people can relate to. It's good to have. Just like hip hop. You get to be involved and represent, and you know and feel like you have other people around you that are like you, doing big things.
Yeah, and that made a lot of sense, especially when they came over because you know, when you're coming from a country and you're gone basically, and you're in this new place, you're trying to find people like yourself to be able to fraternize with and whatnot. So I would imagine there's a lot of awareness and things like that. Maybe things that maybe being that we didn't go through those similar experiences where we basically had to earn a space within this huge jungle that was New York. We might not understand, but to them was very, important, as far as whether it be survival or establishing, that pride. I remember I had uncles that used to work out at Puerto Rican Power and stuff like that. There were gyms like in the Bronx and stuff like that. So it was a very prideful thing. I mean, there's still parades about it today. I mean, recently there's been like this little thread. I wouldn't call it a trend or whatnot of the debate whether Puerto Rican people were there at the dawn of breaking or hip hop. I mean, what's your opinion or dad's opinion on that? Being that he was there, were we there at the beginning?
Well, the thing is, New York is different than any other area,
Yeah,
because, like, everywhere I've traveled, like, you'll see, like I've noticed that, like, people are, like, not separated, but you'll find, like, this area is this area is that. New York, everything's just mixed. I mean, you will find, like areas of Chinatown, Little Italy, and stuff like that, but as far as the kids in the hood, Boricuas and African Americans are together, and some people that were black, they were Latinos, but they didn't even know.
yeah, yeah. You got a couple Dominican brothers and Puerto Rican brothers. You're like, oh, you speak Spanish, But I remember when I saw that thread when that gentleman was talking about that, it made no sense to me because it's like you said, whether you're in a project building or whether you're in an area, I mean, at the end of the day, poverty kind of unites everybody. If we're all going through the same thing and the same pains, we really don't have time to focus on who's from where or how we look or whatnot. And there's very, very strong evidence because, based on my recollection, hip hop, from the Bronx and things like that, these are also areas where we're very heavily populated by Afro Latinos and Latinos, just and you
Yeah,
look at the original videos and stuff like that, you see them on the cardboard and whether it was a photographer, whether it was a DJ, it was all of us together. So whether
yeah,
it's the music, whether it's the dance or whether it's our spirituality, we're noticing now that people are very keen, some people are keen on separation rather than unity, like saying, no, this is ours, no, we did this. So, and you begin to realize people like that, they have an agenda. And that's why
yeah,
they need to be ignored because when you look at the facts, we were all there together. So, talking about the hood and whatnot, I mean, how gangsta was breaking in the beginning because, it's like and we'll get into, all of the things you were able to accomplish in the Olympics and whatnot. But I mean, originally, what was the purpose of this? Did guys have nothing else to do? Were they just trying to show their moves, or was there like real connotations, like, it might pop off, if somebody loses?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there, but I heard lots of stories, and the people that are trying to create division and say who started what, and most of those people are not even from New York. So it's hard for me to understand how people could tell us how things happened here. Um, but from a lot of you'd see people commenting about, hey, yo, we went to break so we didn't have to fight anymore. But a lot of stories my father would tell me would, at the end, they would end up fighting.
Still, yeah.
Because I mean, if you're, I mean, some of like they say Zulu Nation, they were a gang before, so they still had those gang tendencies when
Yeah.
they started the cruise to Zulu Kings. That was one of the first breaking crews. Um, so that would happen, and sometimes the people behind you would start the fights, right? Because they're cheering you on, and then the other friends of the other crew is cheering them on,
Yeah.
and then they end up fighting.
Yeah.
So sometimes it was like that's how it was. It wasn't like, oh, let's stop and let's just fight. I'm not fight. Let's just dance. I mean, that maybe sometimes, but I don't. From what I hear, it was nothing but fight.
Yeah.
There's even a dance style called up rocking where like they pretend to fight. But I mean, I think now it is better. We don't really fight as much. I mean, sometimes you see little something here and there.
Little scuffles, but I think it was a different culture too. It was gritty. It was very gritty. It's funny you mention the Zulu Nation, because God bless the dead. My uncle Irvin was a Zulu. He was
Mm.
from Corona in Queens, and he was a very thorough guy. I loved him very much. Very intelligent man. May he rest. And they would tell me the stories and stuff like that, because he was 6'4", 300 pounds. Afro Cuban guy. And I'm like, Theo, you were dancing? He was like, no, I was drinking. And I was there to break. I wasn't there to dance. So I understood what that meant. But it's always the same thing. You got the artists, you got the crews. I mean, you look at hip hop now, but I think back then it was very real. I mean, because you kind of look now, it's really an art form in its purest form. But you look back then, it was kind of a mode of survival. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're from an area like that or areas like these, where you really don't have anything else going for you. It's like all I have is this dance, all I have is this moment, my neighborhood, my crew, my reputation. I mean, I could see how
Yeah.
things could get very real. Have you felt that breaking has created this culture of family? Do you feel like your fellow breakers are your brothers to a certain degree?
Yeah, that's kind of what attracted me, a lot to it. It made me want to do this for the rest of my life. My mom wanted me to go pursue college and everything, but I didn't. It just didn't feel right, But this felt right. Um, to find, because at first I was learning with my pops. I moved in with him when I was like 11 years old in Long Island, right? Because I was in Queens. My dad was traveling around the world. He was working a lot. So I didn't really see him as much. So I had the opportunity to, get to know him. So I was like, why not? So I did it because, I really looked up to him. And this was, and, breaking, I didn't want to do it because it wasn't cool at the time. But my dad really wanted me to learn. So this was a way for me to bond with him. And once I learned, it was cool. And then I showed off to my friends because I was mad shy, man. I was mad shy. Showed off to my friends. They're like, "What?" They came over. Then I started a crew. And then once we found like another like the scene, like the community, to find other people that love to do what I did, and like it was underground. I was like, "Yo, this is it," And then I started traveling. Yeah, I started traveling. I went to Florida, went everywhere, and little by little, I would just see. It's like, what? This is crazy. Like there's people doing it in France, and you would see videos, and I would just get hyped. I would just get hyped, man. It's like amazing.
And that's incredible when you can find a moment to bond, because as a young man, we're always looking for that confirmation from our fathers, whether they're there at the beginning or sprinkled throughout. No matter how much we may try to deny or negate it, that confirmation is so huge. What was it like at that moment, or how has that transcended into a relationship now with your dad? How are those bonds now based on, him being able to teach you a craft, and you guys being brothers, of the cardboard, I guess. How has that formulated a bond between you guys, even maybe possibly you seeking counsel from him now?
It's like full circle, man. It's like because he he stopped dancing or breaking you know, a certain age, he's, you know, he had a company, and he was, even though it was a dance company, he wasn't really around the scene. But I pursued it because like I was very passionate about it. And now, you know, we have a lot of OGs, but they, you know, they disappear. But now they're coming out because there's a lot of things going on in breaking. So some people will look at him like, oh, he's just coming back because the Olympics, whatever. But I, you know, little by little, there, you know, he's getting to be known, and I'm getting to reintroduce him to the scene. And you know, I was able to work with the Olympics, so you know, they gave me a ticket. You know, of course, I gave it to my father because that was, you know, he's the one reason why, you know, I was breaking. You know, so I gave it to him, and he got to see like where it's at, like for real. Because you know, it's one thing saying it, but once you feel it and you meet people and you see it, you get to, you know, he met a lot of positive people because you know in New York, out here there's a lot of hate, a
Yeah.
lot of haters, especially in the U.S. Man, everybody's like, oh, heck, you know, just trying to downplay everybody. But when we went to Paris, he got to meet everybody. He was like, yo, this is crazy. Met for people from China, Russia, everywhere, and he was excited to just see it.
Can we please talk about that, the Olympics?
No,
Like,
we're
I was
getting there.
waiting,
Come on, Phil. Come on,
okay,
I
man.
was
I gotta
waiting
I
for
gotta
that.
do a build up here because everybody
I've
we
been chomping
all
at the bit for this.
Don't
all
hold it
right.
back.
Listen. Everybody, we know. Listen, Glyde is my brother. He's my friend. Um, listen, we know where we're going with this interview, all right? But you know, there's such an epic story here, Phil. I just need you, just like everybody watching right now, to just let me get one more question in before
Okay,
we get
okay,
to the
okay.
Olympics, right? Glyde, now before you know we move any further, I've seen you dance, I've seen your videos, and I can see why you and your dad had that name. You know what I'm saying? Very smooth with the movements and just the way. I don't know how you're able to balance on one hand. I'd break my wrist. But how bad were you in the beginning? Like, what was the most embarrassing moment, I think, in your trajectory? Like, did you completely bomb? Did you break your head open? Like, you know, what was the worst moment, I think?
Man, I mean, I was pretty bad, man. I couldn't really dance to their beat, you know. So I mean, but that's everybody, man. We have a beginning part, but I really wanted
Yeah.
to prove myself. The thing was, I would talk a lot, and that's how I would get into my opponent's head. But yeah, I was there was a lot of moments, especially like I think it was my 21st birthday. Um, all the old school dynamic rockers came, and we were celebrating. But I, you know, I was a little drunk. You know, I was celebrating 21,
Word.
and the next day we were going to drive out to I think Rochester for a battle, and they were just. And I was like, "Yeah, man, we're going to battle tomorrow." But they saw me dance that night. You know, I didn't do my best, and these are the OGs. I'm representing their crew, right? And they're like, "Are you going to battle tomorrow?" And I just felt it. They were just like they didn't want me to go and represent. I was like,
Like you need a
damn.
little more time to prepare. You want an extension? Oh man, that's funny. But that motivates you, man. I mean, you know, and that's the one thing about that generation is they're honest. You know what I'm saying? So it's nice to see that somebody such as yourself, who's so accomplished, went through that process as well. I mean, everybody makes mistakes. I mean, even with any 𝗲𝗏 and whatnot, my beginning stages. I mean, I've really crashed the car to say the least. And my
Really?
godfather was, oh God, yeah, my godfather was very patient, you know. But so let's get into this little thing Phil wants to get into now, the Olympics, right? How long has breakdancing been pondered of being in the Olympics, or how long has it taken to accomplish this huge goal this past year?
So real quick, I mean, breakdancing, the term was given to us by the media. So a lot of purists that will hurt that will hurt them. Me, I've learned to deal with it because that's what most of the world calls it. So we call it breaking, or there's other terms, but breaking is fine. But I think in the early '80s, um, you'll find interviews of like dynamic rockers or New York City breakers, in particular Chino from New York City, saying, "Oh, he challenged the USA gymnastics team to a battle because they were able to perform, I believe, at the Olympics. So he challenged them. So it was like something like that. So some of them feel like they're taking credit. They're like, oh, it was our idea. It's like, okay, but I mean, it takes work, you know.
Yeah.
2017 or 18, the Youth Olympics introduced breaking to the Olympics. So it was kind of like the test run, and after that, Paris was they wanted it and they made it happen. But there was a group, UBA, that United Breakin Association, that was starting around 2011, 12, and they were trying to like create a organization that would be able to govern that if it ever happened. But we didn't work out. So it was an idea, but it was never like, we always wanted something bigger. Um, there's a big like fight between the purists and those that want it to grow, you know. So yeah, it's been an idea. So yeah,
So since the late '80s, so we're talking about decades. So
yeah.
what now for the people who are completely oblivious? What is the process to be able to actually represent your country for an Olympic team? In this case, breaking. Like, what are the steps? Like, let's say I'm a random kid. I want to represent my country in this sport. What do I have to do? Are there qualifiers? Like, how rigorous is the process?
So each country has right now the organization that runs it is called the World Dance Sports Federation. That's the company. That's the organization I work with. They have 8 of us, 8 breakers from around the world that basically help them through the
Wow.
process, and I'm one of those. Um, but that organization has national member bodies in each country. So each country kind of has their own rules and regulations that have to be approved by the final WDSF. But each country kind of can have, it's a little different. Like the U.S., they have qualifiers or a series of events, and you have to rank at a certain point, and then which leads to the finals, and then if you win the finals, I think the top 2 are in the team, and then they look at the rest, like for the other members, whoever scored high within the ranking. So there's other ways where Victor, he just he just he was in the like he just won. He didn't really win. I mean, he did make the team in the U.S., but he would just win certain events. Like the event that he won was a direct
Direct shot.
qualifier for the Olympics. It was like, you're in, So
Is that
that's
the guy
harder.
from here? Is that the guy
Yeah.
from here in Orlando? I think
Yep.
he went to Gateway High, right?
Yep. He
Yeah,
got
that's
third
really
place.
incredible. I drive by there every day. That's so wild. When I saw that, it was so. I saw he did some interviews. I think he was on 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗏, and he's been representing quite a bit. I saw that he did very well. He pulled the bronze, right, overall, I believe.
Yep. Third place. Yeah, he got the bronze. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, special kid for sure. So, with your position and in the organization that you're kind of, contracted by, are you being sent out to all of these different qualifiers? Like, are you just all over the world? Like,
Not all of them, but my position is head of judges evaluation performance team. So
okay,
I have to make sure the judges are being not biased. Um, but sometimes I'll be a judge, or a head judge. Next week I'll be going to China because now the Youth Olympics is in 2026 in Africa, in Dakar. So
wow.
that this is gonna be one of the first events for that. So now we're getting ready for that. But yeah, sometimes I won't go to all of them, but I'll be at some of them. So yeah, I'll be traveling. Yeah, like once or twice a month.
I tell you, man, one of the most beautiful videos you sent me was the one from Guinea-Bissau. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It was where you were over there in Africa, and just to see them getting it in, man. Like, how does that feel to see, especially back to the motherland? You know what I'm saying? Because the roots of breaking. I mean, ultimately, you go back to Africa, you see dances over there. The war dances. Things, the fertility, like all these things. You see all those elements. So, what is it like to see people from over there? Grabbing onto this culture.
Yo, it was a blessing, man. Especially to just touch down there. Um, it was. I mean, I had no words for it. The kids, they were going 100%. They were just all out. They were enjoying each and every moment. And it was touching. It was touching. It was hard to leave because I built a bond with them. We would dance while out, and yeah, like, and you could tell that they already had it in them. It's like even when I go, like, when I do like projects out, like do events out here in the hood or the projects, like, you'll find like these kids. I'm like, you never done this before, but you got like so much talent. It's just like some kids just have it in them.
Yeah, the
So
rhythm, the swag, for sure. Yeah, that was a beautiful video, man, and just to see how rustic it was, and you just in the hall, just interacting with them, man. You and I saw you had the day on, man. So it's just a big moment for all of us, just to see, one of us, representing that art over there, But Vic, I got to touch on something. I don't want to touch on something, but by popular demand, everybody I think saw the Olympics and breakdancing in it, right? So there's this little country called Australia.
Not that little, but yeah.
Continent
There's
too.
this little continent called Australia. Forgive me, I failed geography. And one of the representatives, Miss Raygun, I believe she's referred to as, had a very interesting ensemble, right? That broke the internet because I was. Let me just do this really quick. It was 11 p.m. at night. Usually by then, by the grace of God, there's some adult time on the couch. You know what I'm saying? And usually it starts off with just us scrolling on our phones, kind of decompressing. And I think I was, my wife, she wanted something to eat. I was making her something, and she's like, "Have you looked at your phone?"
Yeah.
I said, "No, I'm cooking for you." She said, "I think you want to put on Instagram." And it began, dog. I mean, I ain't seen nothing like that since I won't even mention, like, just every reel was this woman. So were you there when she performed?
Yes, I was there.
You
I
were
was
there.
there when
Where were you? Where were you? So we can actually know where you at, because I want to see the facial expressions.
He's probably burying his face in his hands.
He
Just
put
like
the he
that.
put the
Just like
he
that.
put the dreads to the front.
no, I had front row seat, man. I was right there, man, watching.
Stop it.
But I mean, at the moment, I was there. I didn't really think of it. I was just like, this is a win for whoever was battling on the other side.
Word.
Um, but cause like, look, in our community, we see a lot of people.
You see a lot of nonsense, yeah.
We see people, trying,
Sure.
and from when I spoke to her and I heard from her, and it seemed like she felt like she wasn't at that level with the other ones. Because I was there when she won the qualifier in Australia. Um, I
Really?
didn't vote for her. I voted for the other girl, but from the level, the turnout wasn't a lot of people, and the level wasn't that high. You know, the thing is with the Olympics, they try to make it fair. The IOC, the International Olympic Committee, that they want to have like not regionals, but like continentals, I guess they call them, and it'd be a direct shot into the Olympics. So the Oceania area, sometimes it's hard to travel. Not everybody has the funds. So all those countries, she was the best one, but she didn't break like that. That was the thing. She was trying to. So where I was going there's 5 different categories, and one of the categories I think she was trying to hit was originality. You know, which is hard to do. It sounds easy, but being original is not easy. And she was trying to do it, I guess, representing her country, and she it didn't work out. That's our community. We would be like, all right, so people try, and sometimes they don't hit. But I know Olympic level, yeah.
Yeah. So, needless to say, it left me speechless. And we're all about sportsmanship. By no means are we necessarily trying to ridicule or whatnot. But I think where the real disadvantage in her case came from is when you're from New York or you've been to New York and you see the level. It's like you said, you go to a random PJ and like you see these kids doing things that you're like, dude, how are you alive?
hmm
And then also hearing that she didn't break like that originally, and then chose to be as original as possible on the biggest stage, basically that the sport has ever been on. It's very peculiar. So when you're seeing moves like the kangaroo and the snake, I'm sorry, Vic, I got to, because if I don't, the
Nah,
viewers
yeah,
will be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, I mean, but I will say this though, how did it help and how did it hurt? Because it got publicity. I mean, it was the most talked about thing for a week in the world, other than the pole vaulting guy, which is different. But
Um, I think it hurt a lot as far as a lot of mm, things that were being told were not true. So a lot of the media, which is kind of interesting to me, because the media, right, or whoever, they have the resources to find out the truth, you
of
know,
course,
and it's just like they just saw something, somebody said something, and just put it out right
you
away,
run with it. Yeah,
which is unfortunate, and then this is something that I love to do, and whatever. This is my passion. So like. there's a lot of false things being said. So people are gonna believe that, but that's just how the media is. But how it helped was that, not everybody, but there was a good amount of people that went to go look at the other breakers. And then now they're into it. You can see a lot of comments on some of these videos like, wow, I came because of Raygun, but now I see Victor. I see this. I love this. What is this? And they're now we have more fans, but still, um, it's just a lot of negativity. So I mean, for me, I learned um, it's not important to impress the masses. I know that trying to impress people that watch popular things. This is a generation where they're changing dances every week. So I mean, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your honest response. You're a gentleman. It's very kind. So, are you guys in the Olympics, the next Olympics? Are you guys in the next Olympics still as a sport, breaking?
LA, I don't no. LA said no, but this decision was made 2023. So if you saw online, everybody's saying, "Oh, because of her, we're
Yeah,
not in the
that's what I
Olympics."
was like. I thought, yeah.
I was like, "Come on now, that's crazy." But no, that decision was made 2023. Again, this is LA. This is the US. Um, I'm here. I work hard, and it's been hard to like get recognition from the U.S. This dance was created. It's a New York dance. It's
Yeah.
a New York culture, and I would travel around the world, and it's amazing how much attention and love they get. You know, Japan. A lot of those breakers you saw on stage, they're like
Yo.
superstars, mega stars.
Yeah.
And other countries as well too. They're like they got all these like sponsors. Like I was talking to one of the B girls that was in the Olympics for France. She was giving me a list of sponsors. I was like, all right, stop. She's like, I got a car one. I got this. I was like, damn.
Yeah, right. That I mean, you look at certain like I guess because I guess breakdancing is a subculture to a certain degree, but you even look at like sports like bodybuilding, right? Where over here it's like, oh no no no, and then you go to places like Iran and they just like hoisted a statue of a Mr. Olympia 𝗃𝗃𝗃, and it's just it's different cultures, it's different things, and it's really wild how sometimes you have to go outside of your source to be able to bring it back and be like, hey, this is we're legitimate, so definitely a big accomplishment for you guys. I mean, what did Dad say? I mean, regardless of all the other things that were going on, what did he tell you? What did he say to you when he saw that you guys were in the Olympics and it finally went through? What kind of emotions was going through his mind and his heart?
I, he he's just really happy. He's like, he's happy that I'm involved. He's happy for what I'm doing, what I'm in. He's as far as being a part of this culture, and he feels secure that it's going to go to the next level. He was able just being there, he got to meet and see and feel. And it's hard because it's not as big as it is around the world and out here in the US.
You got to meet a couple people, right? I think I saw you with KRS-One. Who else did you meet from the old school?
Oh, KRS-One, I danced with out here.
Really?
Yeah. No, he hits us up. Sometimes they hit us up like the day of, like, yo, we got a show in an hour. I was like, what?
That's awesome.
But yeah, nah, I've gotten to meet a lot of the old school, like Grandmaster Caz, Curtis Blow. I was dancing with for a while. I got
Wow.
to dance with Nas.
Wow.
I got to dance with a lot of Rakim. Many
Wow.
many dancers. Got to talk to them. Even like I got to talk to Nas. Like that was cool.
Oh
Like
man.
and
QB, man.
one of the people he looked up to is like one of my mentors. Like he was like, "Oh, you know 𝘃𝗃𝗃𝗃?" I was like, "Yeah."
I've heard of
So
him. Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I didn't know that about Nas.
he's from Queensbridge. So
Yeah, he's from
𝘃𝗃𝗃𝗃,
QB. Yeah.
𝘃𝗃𝗃𝗃 is the inventor of the continuous headspin. He was in my crew too. Um, so yeah, man. This is like it's like a big thing, but then it's like tight. So like we're good at what we do. Dynamic rockers, we dance. This is like what we do for a living. We have a dance studio in Harlem. Like this is our life. So when they want breakers, real breakers, we're one of the people that people call, especially out here in New York. You know.
Well, definitely, I want you to touch on that because I know you're doing so many great things in the community. First, to bring it full circle, I want you to kind of touch on how positive an effect breakdancing is having on this future generation. Because I know you work with a lot of kids and things like that. What are you noticing in them after assimilating this culture, and also, talk about your organization. I know you have a studio uptown. Please go over all that. How is it affecting the kids, and what do you have going on?
Well, first I started when I built up a name. I started traveling around the world and competing. I mean, I still compete, but back then I was ruthless, man. I was going for it, and people wanted to train with me, so I was teaching adults. And one of my partner, one of my best friends, Indio, he starting to teach kids. He started teaching the kids program. He's like, "Yo, man, we gotta do this. We gotta do this." And I was like, "Nah," because I already knew. I had a daughter, so I know like it's a big
They don't listen.
responsibility.
They don't listen. They break. They don't dance.
It's a big responsibility, and then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
got to be a certain way. It's special, like to teach kids. You got It's a special, takes a special
yeah.
person.
Absolutely. God
I
bless
was
those
like, I
teachers,
ain't ready
man.
for that. But once I started, right, I started with like teaching like little privates with certain kids because their parents be like, we need you to tell. I was like, all right. They would come to my house,
Wow.
and like I would just see like me, and I would relate. And I'm just like, wow, man, this kid has later on you find out, oh, he would have breakdowns. He would like disappear and like, where'd he go? And then later on, I'll find out he had a breakdown. Like, I would like, I wouldn't force them, but like, all right, we're gonna perform in front of everybody, and they'd be like, all right, we do it, and then you see the kid bounce. I'm like, what happened? And then the mom would be like, he had a panic attack. And then later on, I would see this kid grow and dance in front of mad people and just
Wow.
kill it. So I was like, nah, this is where it's at. This is what I want to do. And little by little, I started teaching at different studios, and it wasn't fulfilling because they had to do a recital. But I was like, let me give them the real deal. So I was like, yo, boys, all my boys would be like, yo, let's have our kids battle your kids, and we started doing what we call Kids Breaking League. So I started a company, and then it just grew into me getting in the studio. It was a big league. We would just have all the programs from New York City battle each other for a while, and then we'd lead to a final battle. And after that, that's all I do, man. I teach. Now I'm like teaching 4 or 5 hours a day.
Nice. Nice. Well, I
But
mean, the culture's in good hands with you. You're a family man. 𝗶𝗏𝗶𝗶. You're a
for sure.
beacon to your community and an example. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how can people contact you? Where are you? Please drop all those connections for sure.
Oh man, Facebook, Instagram. It's not Twitter no more, right? It's X.
Yeah,
Kid Glyde, KIDGLYDE. We have a website, kidsbreakingleague.com. My dance studio is KBL Studios, NYC.com. Yeah, Dynamic Rockers, New York City.com. Yeah, I mean, Instagram is the best, I believe. I mean, I'm always on that. Or
for
it's
sure.
easy.
And the movie's on Hulu, right? The Breaking on the One.
Yeah, it's a documentary about the first big battle between Dynamic Rockers and Rocksteady Crew. Um, for a while, like Crazy Legs, Rocksteady, they've dominated the history of breaking, which is cool, but there's other sides, and this is more of our story, So yeah, it's cool. It's like about the battle. It's about it's fun because it's like they're talking bad about them and they talk about so it's good to see.
Nice.
You'll see me and some of my crew members like illustrating the moves that they did back then. So it's a good documentary. I like it.
Very nice, brother. Well, definitely, we sincerely appreciate you taking the time to be on the platform. We've been playing tag back and forth. Getting you on a camera is difficult, whether you're in France, I don't know, Saudi Arabia, Neverland, wherever you are at that moment. You really are the eagle. You know what I'm saying? Like your sign says, and you've been chosen by a higher power to represent that culture, our culture, and it really is a pleasure to have you on here and have you as a confidant, man. We really appreciate you, brother. Any final words for the community?
Nah, I mean, I'm blessed and honored to be here. Again, Baba, you're the truth, man. I've learned a lot with your videos and just talking to you, and I encourage everybody to continue to look for whatever they're looking for, and just continue to strive to be your best. The answers are out there. That's it.
Nothing but love for you, Bobby. The pleasure's all mine. We'll be in touch, all right?
All right, man, for sure. Take care.
Before we drop out,
Uh oh.
Oh,
yes,
How could I forget?
You guys know what I'm about to do.
Oh man,
Drop
do
that
it.
elevator music. All right.
can't break dance to this.
No, well, Raygun can.
Stop.
All right, folks. We got a time to show some love to the people that show love to the channel.
Awesome.
If you want to know what this is, we have a little button under the video. Hit join, and that gives you access to 3 separate tiers of content that's only available to members. That's exclusive discounts on merchandise or live videos that only people see. We dropped a huge bombshell in one of our VIP videos earlier.
Yeah.
So if you missed that, go take a look.
Get in there.
So here we go. VIPs. We got Charlamagne Clark.
Oh man. OG.
We got 𝘃𝗶𝗃𝗲𝗄𝗎𝗏.
Thank you.
We got 𝗃𝗶𝗶𝗃𝗏.
Oh, thank you.
We got Lisa
Obatala.
B.
Thank you.
𝗃𝗶𝗃𝗏.
Okay.
And the super fans. We got Dr. Nakia Brown,
Super fans.
Derek Jones,
Thank you, Derek.
Andrew Casanova,
Blessings.
and Sean Gale.
𝗃𝗶𝗃𝗏, guys, be sure to check out Kid Glyde on any of his social media links for sure if you're interested on the culture of breakdancing or learning a couple moves. Couple closing notes before we go ahead and disconnect. 𝗃𝗲𝗍𝒻𝒻 is up and running for all your spiritual needs, whether it be products or services. You can catch the podcast on any and all of the major platforms, Spotify, etc. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Big thank you from all of us here at Our Roots Podcast. And until next time, see the light.